In other news, RuneScape is now mainstream. That's right, dude. We had an article in the BBC about old school RuneScape and RuneScape 3, but that was kind of a footnote. They interviewed a couple of the JMods. They also interviewed the RS guy and a good friend of mine, Megan. Congratulations, Megan. It was pretty cool seeing someone that I've hung out with written about in the BBC. The article is titled, "Why Are More Gamers Than Ever Playing the 2000s Classic RuneScape?" They say pretty much exactly what you think they're gonna say, but honestly, it's a really nice and heartwarming read, so I would recommend giving it a little look. Next up is a
BBC News. Okay. Should we read that article? Why are gamers playing ever more than 2000 RuneScape Classic BBC? I'm a good reader. Maybe we read that. Hold on. Let me go on X. Wait, is BBC allowed on Twitch? BBC News UK? Let me try to find the article. Where is it? Where RuneScape? What is this? BBC? Where RuneScape? Why is this all 14 hours ago? How many times does this place post a day? Guys, does anybody have the freaking link to this thing? I shared it on Twitter. How do I do this? I found it. Thank you for the link. All right, guys. Areno, thank you very much for the 4 months. New politics streamer. Imagine calling your friends, ordering a pizza, and opening up RuneScape on your PC. A lot of people around my age read those words and be instantly thrown back to the days of dial-up internet. But before you type the letters ASL on your keyboard, this is hardly the stuff of distant memories. 2025 RuneScape, the online game where players could go on with quests and friends that launched back in 2001. I played in 2001, by the way. Its number of paid members grew well over 1 million, according to the company. Many people play for free. In 2025, there was a historic milestone, more than 240K playing. Of course, that was peak rather than consistent. Currently stands around 175K. Back in 2000, RuneScape made a name for itself. It could be played on a web browser without downloading anything, and it became a rapid growth through word of mouth and social interaction. 25 years later, now there's 2 different games. There's RuneScape, which people refer to as RS3, and then old school or classic RuneScape. But old school feels more like the original, which is the exact same that it was back in 2007, and over a half a decade since its initial launch. The game has fallen behind some other MMOs like World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy. But the game Jagex doesn't forget its roots. But I think that's part of the British humor that reflected in our games. Okay. There's a term called RuneScapeness, which is a little bit hard to nail down. The game designer Molly Mason told that to the BBC. There's some Monty Python-ish type stuff. Okay, like with their naming conventions, I'm guessing they're talking about there. She said she believed the game was drawing people in because it's community-oriented. Something the studio's new boss, John Bellamy, agreed. That was in the end of its first year in charge. A player himself, he's also has several big changes since taking the role in March. I came in, like many players of 20 years. What are the things that I would really love to tackle? He said those challenges include trying to deal with cheaters and bots. How's that going? Machines pretending to be players to level up characters without effort and doing some things almost unthinkable in modern games. RuneScape players were given a vote whether to get rid of many of its in-game purchases, something often annoying for gamers, but a big revenue stream for developers. Unsurprisingly, gamers overwhelmingly voted to ditch the mechanic, and it certainly bought the new boss a lot of goodwill. This is what actually investing into the game's growth looks like, one anonymous fan said on Reddit, while others describing the management team with the fire emoji. This is one of the coolest things that someone could have done in a video game, is to delete the pay-to-win aspects in a game and the microtransactions. No microtransactions equals win. Nobody likes it anymore. This comes with the real financial ramifications, John said, but with a 10 to 15-year-old view for the business for any game, my gut says this is totally the right thing to do. I wonder how much money Jagex lost when they got rid of those microtransactions. Like what percentage of their overall income? The bet that we're taking for this business is with the removal of microtransactions that within, and then more than a year's worth of integrity-based upgrades. These sorts of moves have brought players to the game, with John saying old school RuneScape was one of the fastest MMOs growing in the world right now, something even he felt was a bizarre given the game is 2 decades old. Okay, the update includes a lot more things fans could have asked for, such as improving the user interface, combat, and removing systems that people feel pressured to log in every day and do like dailies and stuff, I guess is what they're talking about. The players I spoke to were excited about the changes. The player base are very vocal of what they wanted and what they don't want. The streamer Megan, who streams the game to her 20,000 followers on Twitch, they listen to us, and I think that's why it is so successful, because it's not just a game that's made for us, it's a kind game that's made with us. But she said, Megan, but she said the thing that brings people back is the other players. You can just meet so many like-minded people and you feel like you already know them because you share such a passion that you both have. I know a lot of people have met their husband or their wife in RuneScape. One of my best friends moved from Australia to be with her boyfriend in England, and they've been together for 12 years. This is crazy. RuneScape. Guys, I actually, side note, I own I've done a wedding company. I've owned a wedding company for 10 years. I shot a lot of weddings in my life, probably 500 or so. And one of the weddings, the bride and the groom met on RuneScape, and they talked about it in their vows. And they thanked RuneScape for bringing them together. That is a true story. She was not the only person that I spoke to who told me this kind story. Ryan, known as the RS guy, to his... Really, guys, I'm reading here. You guys know that I can't freaking read, okay? It's funny because that's such a commonplace thing in RuneScape, he said. Adding both of the people to edit his videos met their parents through the game. Really? I understand how crazy that sounds to someone on the outside world. For me, we started off our relationship by playing RuneScape together every day for a good year. Then we started dating. Then we got engaged, and yeah, now we're married. Let AI read it. That would be nice. Ryan plays RS3, a more modern take on the online game, which has better graphics and more features. He said he thinks people are coming back to it because it isn't perfect, but rather it's grown up alongside its players. It's gone through its ups and gone through its downs, he said. It almost feels a bit like the relationship someone may have with a family member. Even when you're at odds with the game, you have so many years of experience you have so many Come on, guys. I'm trying to get some serious reading in here. And the moments in time to fall back on where that was pleasant, core memories were foundational, possibly even to your own development as a person. And that relationship is, at least to Molly, at the heart of why people keep coming back. This is the game that's been with people for decades, she said. We have a phrase for RuneScape saying, you never quit, you just take a break. The game will always be there with you. Your character will always be there for you, unless you're Shobek. End quote, Molly. I think that all of those reasons kind of added together make RuneScape what it is today. Boom, end of article. Nice. Guys, I think that, yeah, I mean, there it is. That you only quit, you only take breaks. You only quit, you never take breaks. There it is. She said it. What were you doing regarding your wedding company? I make videos and photography. Photography and video. I did that for a very long time. You only quit once. When you take breaks of quit because of chat, when you quit. Guys, you only take breaks, but when you quit, chat doesn't like that. So they call you a quitter until you come back. So never quit, because chat will never like you until you stop quitting and you come back and play a game they like. Because if you don't play a game they like, they mad. They type your chat. They say mean thing. And you don't want them say mean thing, because then you got to ban them for being mean. So you never, ever want leave game. You play. Forever, never.